Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day of 30NSG on this Monday. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the Xbox Showcase. I'm going to give you my thoughts. We're going to go a rundown just in case you missed it. And that's what we're doing on today's show. We're going to have a conversation about the Starfield Showcase as well on the tail end of this. Good morning, chat. So, overall, I thought the Xbox Showcase was a really good showcase for Xbox. I don't think it was the best showcase that we've seen so far in this Summer Game Fest. I thought that goes to the Future Game Show. And this is based on a production value and how they did the cadence of actually showing games and the hosts and whatnot. So I'm okay. I don't deduct points because of CG trailers or not. That's a personal preference and whatever you feel what it is. So the very first game they showed, which was the only game that I was intrigued by before this showcase happened, which was Fable. Okay, so let me get the Fable trailer up and running here so we can talk about this. All right, so the Fable trailer, obviously, I didn't think we were going to get to see gameplay. Now, Aaron Greenberg did say that we would get a in-game or in-engine but no CGI straight-up trailers. And I said before that, CGI is CGI. It's in-game computer, right? So a in-game or in-engine is the same as a CGI. It's just CGI trailer is much more production value as far as like a movie trailer and whatnot. But this is the same type of stuff, right? I thought straight up, I was like, oh, this is interesting. I like the graphics. I like what we're seeing. Because it's an in-game engine, you can tell what the game is going to look like, but you really can't tell the feel of what the game is because there is no UI or anything like that, and that is fine, right? This is probably coming out probably late next year, and we'll probably see it 2 more times before we actually see anything happening, right? Like, they'll probably show it again at the Video Game Awards show later this year, and we'll probably get an Xbox Showcase probably next February or sometime around that, and it might launch around this time next year or just a little bit after E3 is when they're probably going to launch this. That's just my speculation. But the graphics look good. I don't really like the protagonist. She doesn't look very good. I know that might seem shallow, but she doesn't look like a very attractive character in any way, shape, or form. I don't know if it's a dude with long hair or if it's a girl that... I don't know. I hope you get to create your character, because if that's the main character, that's going to be a little let down. And I know that might seem shallow, but we're all thinking it. So the next one they showed was a big banger as well, which was the Star Wars, Outlaws. Right? So Star Wars, this is the massive game that they announced to us in January of 2021. Now, I said a while ago that this is potentially could come out in 2024, and now we know it's coming out in 2024 as of right now. Obviously, they've made announcements before about games that are coming out, and then they move those dates really early or really close to the actual date when it comes out. But looking at this, obviously we had nothing to go by when it was massive saying that they're making a Star Wars game open world. We all thought Division, we all thought co-op, we all thought like an open world like that, and now we see that it's a single player, okay, it's a single player game, and I believe it takes place, that they give a little synopsis here. It says, experience the first ever open world Star Wars game, Star Wars Outlaws, set between the events of Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars Return of the Jedi. So obviously we're always going back to that era because that's the best era. 4, 5, and 6. Explore the new iconic locations across the galaxy and risk it all as Kves, an emerging scoundrel seeking freedom and the means to start a new life, along with her companion Nyx, fighting steel, outwit crime syndicates as you join the galaxy's most wanted. If you're willing to take a risk, the galaxy is full of opportunity. So, you're a scoundrel. Maybe you're like, you could do like a bounty hunter mission or whatever, but you're not a bounty hunter. You're basically Han Solo. You're a scoundrel in this world taking place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. I'm very excited about this. I would like to know more about this, and we're seeing more about this today at Ubisoft Forward. That's after this stream starting at 1 o'clock, so stay tuned with us for that as well. But overall, going back, looking at this, it looks good. It looks good. Again, CGI, in-game, in-engine, whatever you want to call it. Okay, it looks intriguing. I'm very excited about this. So it's another Star Wars game. And I've said before that my Star Wars stock is down in TV shows and movies, but my Star Wars stock is up in video games. The video games that have come out, even the EA ones before Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, even the Battlefronts and stuff like that, were always fun to play, really good. I like the story in Battlefront 2. I love the story in Jedi Fallen Order. Love the story in Jedi Survivor. And now we're getting this, and we're getting more Star Wars games. So it'll be interesting to see what that game turns into and whatnot. The third game they showed was called 33 Immortal. This game was pretty interesting. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so 33 Immortal is a co-op action roguelike for 33 players. Play Demand Soul and rebel against God's final judgment. Dive straight into epic 33-player co-op battles with instant pickup and raid matchmaking. Cooperate with your allies, survive against hordes of monsters and massive challenges bosses, expand your arsenal and equipment powerful and new relics, permanently upgrade your souls, and face the wrath of God in your fight for the eternal life. So this game seemed very interesting as well, right? Kind of like the art style, and I thought this was cool the way they did the trailer. You're like, oh, it's a roguelike. That's what I said. Even my live coverage, I was like, oh, it's a roguelike. And I was like, oh, what is this? I was like, 33, because they're like one player, and then they're like co-op, and then they're like 33 co-op, and you're like, holy Christ. So this was actually not my cup of tea, roguelikes, but at the same time, the reason I don't like roguelikes is like, it's by myself. If I could do, look, a lot of my games that I want to play, I don't need massive multiplayer, but I just need one other player. I want to play like a buddy, with a buddy. I want to bullshit as we play. I don't want to bullshit while we play where I'm on a headset and I'm talking to them while they're in their game and I'm in my game. I want to bullshit and play while I'm in the exact same game, right? One of the big turning points for me as Diablo and stuff like that, right? So a 33-player co-op game, this should be very interesting to see what happens and how it is. And mind you, Fable, Fable, South of Midnight, which I missed, we'll go back to that. 33 Immortals all so far are on Game Pass, and that is a big running theme as we talk about the game showcase. Thanks for becoming a member. General, thank you very much for the 2 months. A little off topic, but you're going to play Final Fantasy 16. Looks fun. I cannot play Final Fantasy 16. I do not have a PlayStation 5. So, and I haven't played a Final Fantasy game since I think the last one I played was 11. Was the last one I played. So, we will not be playing Final Fantasy 16, but it does look phenomenal, and I hope everyone that plays it has an absolute blast. All right, let's go back to, let me find South of Midnight. South of Midnight, this was a CGI trailer or in-game trailer or whatever you want to call it. Okay. Actually, let me read what this is because we don't really know much about this. It says, from the creators of Contrast and We Happy Few, South of Midnight is a spellbinding third-person action-adventure game set in the American Deep South, coming to Xbox Series X and S with the Xbox Game Pass, Windows PC with PC Game Pass, and Steam. As Hazel, you'll explore the mythos and encounter creatures of the Southern folklore, and also fantastical world. With the disaster strikes her hometown, Hazel is called to become a weaver of magic, mender of broken bonds and spirits. Imbued with these new abilities, Hazel will be confront and subdue dangerous creatures, untangle with webs, and her own family shared the past. If it's lucky, you could find your way to the place that feels like home. So this is Midnight South, which I kind of like the art style. I feel more like a claymation type of thing, right? Like a claymation type of thing. And again, we don't know much about it. I just read the bio of it. Seems interesting. Another game that will be on Game Pass. The next one is a really big game that's been out for years and years and years. Is a big following. Is Payday. Payday 3 is coming out, and this was a big surprise for Payday. Let me see if I can get the trailer for you guys. Right, so Payday 3, I liked Payday 1. I liked Payday 2. I'll probably like Payday 3. As a Xbox owner as of right now, and I don't have a PlayStation 5, this is coming to Xbox Game Pass as well. So I don't have to pay an additional $70 when it comes out. And that's one of the bonuses of being an Xbox Game Pass member. Now, I think this game, though, is just going to be as good as Payday 1 and Payday 2. They're not like game of the year, but at the same time, they're a fun time, especially when you're playing with friends, right? I can't wait to play this game. Maybe Sarge will play with me. Never played? They're really fun games. They're really fun games. So, Payday 3, another game on Game Pass. Then we have Persona. Now, I've never been a Persona guy. I know there's a lot of people that like Persona. Let me see if I can get the Persona trailer for you. I don't know why they didn't put these things out of order, you know? I wish they put the things in order when they're putting the Do I have the Persona trailer? There it is. Oh, that's his Persona Tactics, though. That's Persona Tactics. There it is. Persona. So, Persona, big franchise. Wasn't on Xbox in the past. Now it is on Xbox. And now they're adding this one as well. Again, this is also going to be on Game Pass. I've never been one for this type of game. I know it's a huge following behind it. So this is just another bonus, right? Have any of you guys played Persona? And if you do you absolutely love it? Should I try it? I don't know. I'm not a real big into that in this type of genre. Payday 3 is Game Pass, Sarge. Yes, that's correct. Sarge says 33-player co-op. For what reason to say, hey, guys, you have to do this 33-player co-op? I mean, I think it'd just be epic battles of bosses. It's a roguelike. So it'd be interesting to see. I mean, a roguelike with 2 people would have been different, but they went 33 people. I don't know if there's something behind it. Maybe we'll find out more on the Xbox Direct when they talk about it, or the Xbox Extended tomorrow. It's a time sink as hell, from what I've heard. Persona is great. Yeah, I don't know if I have. One of the reasons I didn't play Persona ever, when I watched CohhCarnage play it and stuff like that, it felt like a little time that I don't have to put into that. I'd rather put into something that I know I'm going to like. Ubisoft showcase starts at 1 p.m. 1 p.m., Jesse. A Jade Empire-like Devil May Cry looking action adventure game. Where did they show that? That wasn't in the Xbox showcase. Water. Or are you just throwing out names? Then we had the next game, which looked a little different. I don't know if it was me, but it looked a little different. It was Avowed, right? Avowed is set in the world of Aura, or Eora. Obsidian Entertainment Avowed will still be see players embark on the journey through its living lands, a plagued foreign island, and full of mystery and secrets, danger, and adventure. Choose the Jesus, I can't read today. Choose and consequences, and also the land feels foreign and somewhat intriguing. It's also to the place calling out for your help. In a first-person fantasy RPG, players will explore diverse ecosystems and meet companions along the way while uncovering dark plagues in these lands. For more information, you can go to the Xbox Wire article here. So let's look at the Avowed trailer that they showed. I think it looks... I mean, Obsidian makes good games. I like Outer Worlds. I loved when they did Fallout New Vegas, and now they're doing Avowed. And I think Avowed looks like another fun game from Obsidian. When we first saw this, we thought it was like an Assassin's Creed game. We're like, what is this, Assassin's Creed? And then all of a sudden, we're like, oh, no, this is not Assassin's Creed. I said that in the very beginning of my show, Jesse. I think the Future Game Show was the best all-around show, from the pacing to the hosts to the games they showed. Obviously, Xbox had more bigger title games, but the pacing and the way they did the Future Game Show as an overall whole, I thought that was the best show done. Yeah, the Avowed game looks very, very interesting. Very cool looking. It's got that Skyrim feel to it. Path of Godness. You know, I mean, it really is. It looks like a Skyrim predecessor. You know, and this is, I guess, to fill the void between this and Skyrim. I know it has nothing to do with it. But that's basically what this is for Xbox. If this is Obsidian Skyrim, count me in. I mean, yeah, that's what it feels like, right, Kylo? Avowed should be canceled? Why is that? Why should this be canceled? I was tripping. I thought you said that the Summer Game Fest was better than the Xbox Showcase. Oh, no. The Future Game Show was better than the Xbox Showcase overall as a production thing. But the also what you're comparing to is you're comparing a company that makes a box, and the Future Game Show is just showing games, right? So one is trying to sell consoles or a service, and the other one's just selling games, right? Just showing games, Horseman. I just feel like it's nothing new. Fair. If they have the audience, then make it and sell it, I guess. It's just a pass for me. Yeah, but I don't understand that comment, though. Why should it be canceled? It's got nothing new. But why? No, most of these games that come out have nothing new. We saw the showcase yesterday in the PC Gamer Showcase. Most of those games are derivative or inspired by the other games that they made before. I'm still confused why you said they should cancel. Doesn't make sense. It's another game that they're putting on their system that you have a choice of playing or not playing. Why would they cancel it? All right, the next one was Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves had an update for Monkey Island. Sea of Thieves is like in a weird spot for me, right? I want to play Sea of Thieves, but at the same time, I don't want to play Sea of Thieves because Sea of Thieves to me is like in this, like I said, in this weird scenario where, like, I love playing Sea of Thieves, but at the same time, I hate playing Sea of Thieves because you like waste your time. So it says Sea of Thieves: The Legend of Monkey Island is a new collaboration between Rare and Lucasfilm Games to bring together two beloved pirate adventures or universes to tell a new tale of Guybrush adventures in the Sea of Thieves, featuring Guybrush, Ghost Pirate, more characters from Monkey Island game series. Now comprised of 3 Tall Tale delivered in installments of free updates to owners of any of Sea of Thieves editions and all of Xbox Game Pass members beginning on July 20th. Sea of Thieves Legend of Monkey Island is a hilarious, heartfelt love letter to the iconic Monkey Island adventure game series. The first chapter will be available in Sea of Thieves players across Xbox, PC, and Steam on July 20th, and check out the exclusive interview here. So here's the trailer for Sea of Thieves Monkey Island. When I saw Lucasfilms, I was like, oh, is this... I thought for a second, I was like, this is the Indiana Jones thing. And I was like, oh no, this is Sea of Thieves. Kylo says, cancel's a bit much. Obsidian is top tier RPG developer, and they have yet to make a medieval style game. Right. I mean, I understand if you don't like the game. I know Daniel said I got heated. What I'm saying is, because you don't like a game, you're like, I don't like that. They should just cancel it. Like, yeah. It's like, whoa, calm down. Like, Obsidian makes really good games. Can I talk about Star Wars Outlaws? But what they showed yesterday, because I'm still under NDA. I don't know. That's up to you if you want to talk about it or not. They're going to be showing more at the Ubisoft thing. Maybe wait till then, and maybe I can ask you questions, and because you could see what they show is what you know, and then maybe we can ask a question or two. It's an open world RPG set in the Pillars of Eternity universe. If you say anything like Skyrim, remember how shit the magic was in Skyrim? I mean, when I say Skyrim, it just reminds me of Skyrim because that's what it looks like. Making a reference. I'm not saying the game is Skyrim. Yeah, the Sea of Thieves stuff, I really like the single player story elements of it. But the problem is that to get to the single player story elements, you could get ganked in the middle of your thing and it makes your play time longer. I just want to like turn on the game, play the game, and maybe you can with this, and we'll see once the game comes out in July 20th. It's right around the corner. So, and I'm sure they'll have another update probably around. They're doing, I think, 2 a year now, like at the beginning of the year and then the middle of the year. They might have another one at the end of the year. So from Sea of Thieves, then we have the Flight Sim. Flight Sim had two things. They had a Dune-inspired like expansion where you get to fly the actual ship from Dune, and then inside they had like which sounds like it says, pursue your dream as an aviation career with Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. This brand new simulator is designed to take advantage of the latest technology in the simulation cloud, machine learning, graphics, and gaming to create the most immersive and awe-inspiring flight simulator of all time. To achieve this unprecedented level of accuracy, Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 is powered by significantly involved Asobo Studio Engine. Available day one on Xbox Game Pass, PC Game Pass, and Xbox Cloud Gaming Windows on October 11th, and Steam coming in 2024 for the latest information of Microsoft Flight Sim. So it looks like everyone was asking for a career, because I remember when I was playing Flight Sim when it came out, I was like, man, this is fun, but it's boring real fast because there was no like progression. There was no story. And people, I remember, argued with me. They're like, well, you don't need that to have fun in the game. And I'm like, no, but the game is missing something, right? Like, I compared it to Truck Simulator, okay? Truck Simulator would be really freaking boring if I couldn't do anything progression-wise. Like in Truck Simulator, the more you drive, you can upgrade your truck, you earn stuff, you make your truck better looking, you can open up a business, you expand your place. In Flight Sim, you're just flying a plane. You're practicing landing and taking off and flying around and looking at stuff. And I was like, man, they're missing a career mode. I would love to have my own airline where I could, make more passengers come in, or I could do flights from certain places and make money and expand my business. I don't know if this is what this is, but this looks like scenarios or careers that if you're a paramedic, you're doing paramedic missions, you're doing different things. This gives a little bit more urgency. I use that word loosely, urgency to play the game. You're like, oh, cool, I'm doing a mission, I'm doing a quest, I'm doing something other than just getting in a plane and then flying and going, oh, okay, this is fun, and then landing, right? There's a difference in some sort of reasoning to play the game besides, I really like planes, I'm flying around. So this is interesting that they made it a completely separate purchase of a game, or you can play it on PC or the xCloud, and it'll be on Steam, it'll be on the PC Game Pass, and it'll also on Windows, and it'll also be on your Xbox Series S and X. And be honest with you, on the S, it's a little rough. My son plays it on the S. Lots of times the game crashes on the old one. For the most part, it's actually really good. But you can see the difference between the S and the X. On the X is a much better game, and on the PC, it's even better, obviously. So fantastic that they're putting some sort of career mode in here or some sort of questing or something like that for you to play in Flight Simulator 2024. From that, we have the Dune Sim, and then we had Hellblade. I don't really need to show you Hellblade because they didn't really show anything about Hellblade. Last year's Hellblade was much better, right? So, like, they showed, like, the combat and type of stuff. They didn't show you anything, but this really, like, really personable, like, a personal, like, really enclosed type of graphic and emotional, like, scene, but nothing of substance for Hellblade. We just know, hey, Hellblade's here, and they kind of waved and said, hey, we're still here, we're still working. And everybody was a little worried that it was coming out this year, and they said coming in 2024, so everyone took a sigh of relief and said, okay, good. They're waiting to work on that and finish it out. So that's Hellblade 2. Then we had Like a Dragon. Like a Dragon was a funny one. I thought the scene of him on the beach and the way they were doing the cutscene and stuff like that. Again, I'm not interested in this type of game. but I know there's a bunch of people that are interested in this type of game. I thought the trailer was funny. He's naked on the beach, and they have like things blocking him left and right, and it was just a fun trailer, right? It was a fun trailer. I thought this was Dead Island when I first saw that first screen right there, and then I saw this and I was like, oh, never mind, right? So I don't know if you guys played a lot of this this genre or this IP. This is just one of those games. Again, I probably won't ever touch, but this is yet another game for someone out there that needs to experience something. You know, and now it's on Xbox. So, Like a Dragon, naked on the beach. Bo says, I'll be eating, I'll be eating good for a long time with Game Pass. Yeah, I mean, Game Pass, they came out swinging with Game Pass. Third party, first party. They established themselves with a lot of games in the next 18 months, I would say, right, Bo? I mean, they announced some coming out this year, and then most of them said 2024, and that just means all of 12 months, there's going to be games coming out. So they announced, I think, 27 games? And on my list, I have 24. I know on YouTube it said 21, but I looked down the list. I watched the video again, and 24 games said they're on Game Pass. So I don't know. Maybe I'm counting something twice. Oh, I am, because I have the Dune Flight Sim as under Game Pass as well. So maybe there is only 21, not 24. Maybe I doubled down on certain things. But anyway, 21 games over the next 18 months on Game Pass, right? Brand new games that are coming to Game Pass across the board, that are coming across the board on all systems, right? They'll be on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, but they're coming to Game Pass for Xbox, so that's a good one. Horseman says just 300 gigabytes. Yeah. The playing game is gigantic. I hope it's in February or March. When did the last Hellblade come out? It came out in August. I would assume they would shoot around the same time. I would assume they would show around the same time. That way they can also get gameplay and stuff before, and like the summertime comes, they show you at next year's Summer Game Fest, and then it comes out in August. I think that's when it'll come out. I'm surprised Flight Sim is what started the simulator genre. Is it, though? There's always been a lot of simulator games. Was Flight Sim the one that started it? I don't know if that's true. I mean, there's been Flight Sim games. I mean, I originally played, like, you know, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, which is a simulator type game. There's been a bunch of simulator games over the years. I don't know if Flight Sim was the first. It might be. Like, X-Plane came out in, like, mid-90s. It might just be. It might. I'm not sure, though. Yeah, let's look it up. Let's look it up. First Flight Sim game. First Flight Sim game came out in November of 1982. Microsoft Flight Simulator 1.0 is the flight simulator video game released in November 1982 for IBM PC. It is the first release in its Microsoft Flight Simulator series. So 1982, that's a pretty goddamn long time. And you know what? I played it. I see the screenshots of it, and I 100% played it. Yep. Yeah, 1982. So you are 100% correct. It's one of, if not the first, simulator type game. Look at the graphics back then. Hold on one second. Let me bring up what this looks like here. Let's see if I can. Let's see. Flight Sim. Let's see if we can get some gameplay here. Here it is. In all its glory. Flight Sim 1982. Look at it. Look how far we've come. This was on the edge technology. flying a plane in a vast, pixelated. I mean, there's not even clouds. Look at this is flight sim. Still no career mode. Yeah, look, I think that's water. I think that's water. Looks the same. Yeah, if we put a side-by-side comparison, you wouldn't even tell the difference. Yeah. Yeah. Can't even see the difference. Definitely looks the same. Yeah, I couldn't remember, Sarge, but we definitely had it. After Flight Sim, after Hellblade, we got Fallout 76 had their trailer. Let me see. Do I have it? Yeah, Fallout 76, Atlantic City. During the Xbox Game Showcase, Bethesda Softworks, Bethesda Studios showed celebrated Fallout 76 15. Okay. I know a lot of people don't believe this, right? They don't believe this. You're gonna look up the numbers on Steam, and you're gonna see that there's, 6,000, 10,000, or whatnot, right? But Bethesda Game Studios celebrates Fallout 76, 15 million players who have made a wasteland their home showcasing. Now, that doesn't mean that all 15 million people are playing, okay? It all has to offer in a new trailer. The trailer also revealed that coming soon, players should prepare to let the good times roll because Fallout 76 is headed expedition to all new location outside of Appalachia into Atlantic City. Stay tuned for more details on the next adventure. Okay. I want to show you real fast. Let's see. Fallout 76 player count. Okay. Now, this is from Active Players AO or IO. Okay. I don't know if this is how accurate this is. Okay. But the player count. Okay. On this page, you'll see Fallout 76 live player count or the players currently playing the game and how many players in a monthly average playing Fallout 76 each and every single month. Okay. So right now, in the last 30 days, okay, peak players across all systems is 615,000. Okay. In the last 30 days that's active, this is average monthly players, 9.2 million. Yeah. Accounts, however you want to look at it. Don't know how accurate this is. Okay. But that's how many people are playing across all the systems. Okay. There you go. Fallout 76 live monthly player detailed. Peak players, 615,000 across all stuff. Who are these people? But you got to remember, there's a lot of players in the world. Okay. Lots of players in the world. It's a $1 billion business. There's 3 billion people playing video games. See, everyone loses their mind. They're like, there's no way in hell 9 million people are playing Fallout 76. Look, I'm just letting you know that they keep supporting it. They're making money left over right. They keep putting expansions in there, more stories in there. I don't think they would do that if there's only 6,000 people playing. Right? That's for a shitty game that was condemned when it came out. Okay? Think about that. Now, they have an average of 9.2 million people in the last 30 days. If you look at it, this is going all the way back. Okay? Let's see if it goes back any farther. This goes back to February of 2021, January of 2021, where they had 11 million people. 11 million people and 577,000 people during that time frame. But then it gained steam. as the game gets older, it's picking up more and more people. Right? They had a huge raise of 196,000 people positive. They lost 516,000 here, and the last 30 days they lost 400,000. Okay. Now I don't know if this means that the people are just logging in and collecting their stuff and moving on, and they count them. But I mean, there is a dip and then a back and a dip and then back, and now once the expansion comes out, there'll be another, a dip, or a rise again. I told you they're still mad that they're not being able to monetize Skyrim. Look, and this is why I say a lot of things about Starfield, which we'll get to in a bit. I think down the road, I truly believe there will be a game mode like an online GTA Online where you could play your single player Starfield. But if you want to go play, if it's co-op or MMO style, whatever, there's going to be some sort of multiplayer thing that you can go in. If it's separate servers, sort of like Fallout First, right? Something's going to happen, right? Something's going to happen along those lines where you can go play with a buddy. Okay? So let's go back as we continue here through the showcase. We have Fallout 76, then we have Path of Gods. Let me see if I can find this one. Path of Gods. A Metaphor. Skylines. Power. There's Motorsports. I don't think they have it. They don't have it on this list. So, Path of Gods. We have Forza Motorsports, which, another car game, which, again, it looks beautiful. If you like cars, more cars for you. So Turn 10 showed off this latest look at Forza Motorsports, announcing pre-orders and the launch date on October 10th on Xbox Series X and S and PC. Also shared where more details on the Forza Motorsports cover cars with General Motors is stunning 2023, the Cadillac Racing V Series R race car, and 2024 Chevrolet Corvette the E-Ray will be available for fans who drive the Forza Motorsports. So this is just another car racing game, and I know it sounds like I'm just kind of pushing it off. I'm just not interested in it. I actually like Forza Horizon because it's like open world and you can go do the stuff. I personally get bored over time real fast of just racing around the courses, and even when I put the difficulty level up and I get around the cars, it's like, okay, cool. I'm not about tinkering because I'm already winning. So it's like, why do I need to tinker to make my car go faster type of thing? So, but more power to anyone that loves these games. This is me not crapping on it. I think it looks fantastic. It looks beautiful. I used to nonstop play car games all the time. Car game came out, I purchased it. Now, not so much. Kind of went through that in my phase when I was younger. I love Forza so much. I know I'm not the minority, but I look forward to them. Yeah, Kylo, if you're excited, this is amazing. When you play these games, it's a must to have a wheel. It's a must to have a steering wheel. I like Forza Horizon because it's just open world and you can just drive around. I also like the Crew 2, where you got to drive across the United States, even though it wasn't a 1-to-1 scale. We actually had a race years ago. A bunch of us got on and we raced from Florida all the way to California. It was fantastic. I thought it was a lot of fun, right? I like stuff like that. We did a cannonball run. Dave Rose says, it was just an okay showcase, just average to me. I'll give it a C. All the games it showed was interested in the third party, like Star Wars Outlaws. Dave, I have a question, and I'm asking this because you're a PlayStation guy, correct? You prefer PlayStation over Xbox, correct? And I'm not trying to call you out. I'm literally asking. I remember you talk a lot about PlayStation. Nothing was there for me to run out and buy a $500 Series X to play any of these titles. Yeah, okay, so you don't own an Xbox. You own a PlayStation. So wouldn't you say you're a little biased because you like the system that you're on, correct? Well, yeah, I'm not a fanboy of PlayStation 5. It's what I bought this gen. No, I understand that. But most of these games you could probably get on your PlayStation 5 as well because it's third party, right? Most of them are third party games that will be on the PlayStation as well. The first party title games, understandable. Like if you're not a racing car guy, or if you're not a niche market of Starfield to play Starfield, that's understandable. But I can't imagine you saying it's. I mean, each their own. But to say it's a C, really? You think the showcase is a C? I mean, they showed a ton of games. New Awesome Gears or new Ori, I buy an Xbox. All right, well, we know Ori is coming out later down the road, I believe. And we know a Gears is coming out. I mean, they just had a Gears in 2019. So even if they're working on a new Gears right now, 2019 was the last one came out, and then we hit a pandemic. So if they started working on Gears 6, it's going to be delayed by a year and a half, 2 years. So let's just say they started full production in 2021, right? So end of 2021, 2022. So they're like 2 years in. It takes 3 to 5 to make a game. So you probably won't see Gears 6, but probably like 2025 earliest. If Gears was there, I make it top notch. Yeah, but that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, I thought Starfield looked boring. Like I've always said, it looks like a Fallout in space and a Fable I'd never get into. The Fallout in space, I 100%, right? But there's a niche market that loves. I mean, obviously, we just saw that there's 15 million people that have tried or playing or are still playing, and there's 9.2 million people that are still active playing Fallout 76. That game was crap, but there's still 9 million people playing. So I'm assuming that there's going to be about the same that are going to be in the space boring Starfield, right? Because that's just Bethesda. Bethesda itself draws in people to play the game. Not everyone's cup of tea, but it is what it is. Going from Forza Motorsports to Elder Scrolls Online, another expansion. This is yet another game that just keeps on bringing people into it. This game has picked up steam over the years. We can look up ESO numbers here in a second. We can look at numbers in a second here for this. I loved ESO. I played the crap out of ESO when it first came out on Mac years before. And then when it came over to console, I stopped playing it on the Mac. My Mac broke. And then I started playing. It's one of the reasons I bought it, because it was very few games that you could get on a Mac. But then I got it on Xbox, and then I bought it. And then it became, they bought Bethesda, and then they put it on Game Pass. This alone, I think, is worth a $10 membership each month if you're just playing ESO, even though you could just buy it straight up and play it without paying the monthly subscription, because it is free. They got rid of the monthly subscription for ESO, but they've constantly added expansions to this game and story. And if you're a person that likes story, if you're a person that likes Skyrim, yes, it's 1,000 years before Skyrim, but it's so much content in this game, and they just keep supporting it. Okay, we're all shocked and stuff because No Man's Sky keeps supporting it, but ESO is, I mean, obviously it's a much bigger team than Hello Games, but they just keep pushing out content and more content for this, and obviously they know their clientele, right? The people that get this, they might pick it up for $40. They might play it on the actual Game Pass itself. They'll buy microtransactions. They'll pay was it 10 or 15? I forget. If Brain's in the chat, he can tell us, or if anybody else is playing ESO for the extended baggage, which MMOs do now. But yeah, they keep just smashing out expansions and DLCs for this, and it's cool. And this is across all. It's on, it's on PlayStation, it's on Xbox, it's on PC, and you can just keep playing it. Just another bonus, though, if you are playing on Game Pass. Asmongold just announced he's starting a game publisher. Yeah, it's called Mushroom, I think it's called, isn't it not? Yeah, but you have to like have no inventory and no mail transfer without the subs. Optional. But if you're going to invest in the game, it's kind of a bother. I play without the package, and it's fine. If you're a casual, if you're a hardcore person, you're definitely gonna have to pay the $15. But if you have to go and about this, if you look at it where when they were charging for the $15 subscription model, okay, that's what it was. I think it was a $15 subscription model. You were getting all that stuff. And then they said, you know what? Let's give the game away where you're playing it on Game Pass. And if you want the extra storage, you're paying the $15. So the best way to do that is if you're just playing ESO, don't get it for Game Pass. Buy the game and then get the membership. Right? Don't pay for Game Pass and play ESO and then pay $25, because then you're paying $25 for Game Pass. You know what I mean? You see how that works? Like, if you're just playing ESO and that's the only game you're playing, and there's a lot of people out there, don't get it for Game Pass, because you're paying $10 for Game Pass, and then you're paying $15 for the subscription to get the extended bags and whatnot, where just buy the game and then pay for the monthly subscription, and you'll save yourself a ton of money on your car insurance. Come on, Neutralizer. Showcase was easy A. It doesn't make sense for people to rank it low just because there's a particular game or they didn't see it. I really wanted Hollow Knight Silksong released. There was a lot of games that they didn't show, Neutralizer. I think you'll get Knight Silksong at the extended one, because they came out and said they're going to be showing games that they didn't show at the event. And I think the reason they didn't show it at the event was because Starfield took up an hour. Everyone thought it was going to be an hour and a half, and Starfield was a half hour, but it turned out to be an hour for Xbox and an hour for Starfield. And I agree with you, 30. They definitely did show a lot of games, but again, nothing I wanted to play. So yes, I stand by my grade of C. And now I know that others, they may think that the higher because they love. I get it. I totally understand, bros. I was just trying to look at it as even as a person that there's a lot of games that showed that I'm not interested in. But I just think the show as a whole, again, each their own, right? Neutralizer says anyone that's ranking lower. I think the show as a whole was good pacing. They showed a lot of games. I might not like a lot of games, but they're there. And if you are an Xbox person, 21 of those games are on the system day and date without paying extra money, right? So that's a lot of stuff. Now, a PlayStation guy, I'm not saying you, Rose, in any way, shape, or form. A PlayStation guy will come in here, probably boss, he's probably lurking in the background, and say, well, all those games are crap anyway. No one wants to buy an Xbox and stuff. But for the value of what you're getting, even people that hate the S, okay, you can buy a S for, what, 350 or 300, isn't it? For the white Xbox, it's like 300. And then you get a full year's of Game Pass for 120. And you're getting 21 games over the next 18 months. If you went out and bought a PlayStation and 3 games, that's all you're getting. Right? And it's still $30 less. Now, I understand it's an S, right? $350 for the terabyte version. Yeah, for the new one. Right? But for families out there that are looking to get a system for their children, because you got to remember, PlayStation is for older, like I would say young teens, maybe right before teens. I would say maybe like 11, 12, right? There are kid games on there, don't get me wrong. But most of the games that come out for PlayStation are more for like young teens, young adults, and whatnot. And there's a hierarchy here, right? Like this is why I always say Nintendo is from birth to death. So like when you're born, they hand you a Switch or a Nintendo system, and then they play games and they move up, and then they'll play Xbox or Game Pass, and then from that they'll graduate into the next era of video games, which would be PlayStation, right? I mean, they're not hiding it. PlayStation's a more high-end gaming system, right? They're meant for the people that want the higher end stuff. But if you have multiple children and You're not going to go out and buy. You're going to get the best value for your buck. The best value for your buck is getting the potato with Game Pass. Do you know what I mean? Those are facts. Fable or super excited for Starfield? I'm not. Fable, I'm excited for because I love Fable 1, 2, and 3. They're great series. This one looked good. I'm still worried about Playground Games if they can pull it off for not using a car engine that they made for Horizon to make this game. But the graphics look good. Now, is it going to come out looking like that? I don't know. But the first views of Fable, I thought was pretty good. It's a B or B minus for Game Pass. Nothing makes you want to buy an Xbox console, but for Game Pass. But remember, Water, you don't have to buy an Xbox for Game Pass, right? There's many ways that you can play Game Pass without ever buying a console. You can buy a Samsung television. You can play on PC. You can play through the cloud. You don't need an actual Xbox. It's the same thing, just with 1 terabyte SSD instead of the 500 gigabyte one. Nothing else but that and a black shell. Right. Best bang for your buck at the moment is Steam Deck. Is it? Best bang for your buck for who? For a single college kid or a young adult that travels a lot? I mean, I'm trying to figure that out. I think the Steam Deck is fantastic. Getting extra 512 gigabytes for 50, considering that you're charging for SSD, is great. I mean, you can get those extra stick of memory for what, $80? I think it is for 1 terabyte, or is it 512? I think it's another 512. So if you have a white box and you go buy $80, you're better off turning in your old system and then buying a new one. My Asus ROG Ally is coming tomorrow. Oh, nice. When we'll get out of this buying an Xbox, we just want you in the ecosystem, period, no matter how I get it. I know, Mo. I've been preaching it for multiple years. I'm glad that Phil Spencer came out a couple of months ago and said it, but people are still stuck in that, well, who's going to buy an Xbox? And Microsoft's like, we don't care if you buy an Xbox. Remember, Microsoft tried to sell computers, right? Microsoft used to try to sell computers. And then they just said, you know what? Let's just sell the software. How'd that work out for them? Pretty good. Pretty good, right? So now they're doing the exact same thing where, sure, they're still in the market. They're still making boxes, okay? But majority of their sales is going to be coming from the software. And the software is Game Pass. It's a service. It's a software. It's an app. It's a thing on the television set. It's a, right? You know what I mean? Right. They're $1 trillion company now. Exactly. Microsoft still sells laptops, tablets, I believe. Sure. But they're a small amount, was what I'm saying, Cujo, right? Back in the day, they wanted to sell computers and compete against Apple. Apple made the thing and made the operating system. Windows said, fuck it, we're just going to sell the operating system. How'd that work out for them? Terrible, right? They're terrible. They completely bombed, and they're never going to make it. All right, what else we got here? We got the... Where is it? We have Metaphor. How do you pronounce this this game? It's pronounced Jusant. Is the Yausant? Usant? Like, how do you pronounce? I'm butchering it because I just don't know. Is it Usant? Is that how you pronounce it? You guys break that down vernacular for me? Yeah, they tried. Now they make bank. Yeah, yeah. It's pronounced just don't. Yeah, there you go. There you go. This game looked really good as well. If we can fast forward a little bit. Freestyling, rock climbing. It's like a puzzle game. You guys know I love my puzzle games. So we're excited about that. The game I can't pronounce. On top of that, we have Still Wakes the Deep. Still Wakes the Deep. This is like a horror game. See, the problem is when I went in, Cujo, I wasn't expecting anything except Fable, and Fable was the first thing they showed, and I was excited about that. And then after that, everything was bonus. And then the game number 2 was the Star Wars game, and I was like, holy Christ. I was like, they're knocking it out of the park the very first 2 games. Well, first 3 games, because the Shadows of Midnight was in between them. Yeah, but for the people who keep saying you don't need to buy an Xbox, that's BS as well. In my situation, I would have to don't own a PC and don't plan on to spend $3,000 on one, and I'm not in the market. Yeah, but you what I'm saying is you can play other avenues, right? Sure. You don't want to pay $1,000 for a Samsung television set, or you don't want to pay $2,000 for a PC. Or you don't want to play off of your mobile phone. But what I'm saying is you can play Xbox Game Pass on those devices. So if you're a person that already has a Samsung TV, you can download the thing, right? A new Samsung TV. If you have a mobile phone or a tablet, you can play. And if you already own a PC, now in your situation, you don't have it, and I understand that. But all I'm saying is there's other avenues than just buying the console. Now, obviously, the console is still the cheapest route of those things, because a cell phone or a tablet still costs about $1,000. The PC, if you get a low end one, like $1,000, right? And a Samsung TV that can do it, I think, is about $1,000 as well. So yeah, all the things are cheaper or are more expensive than the cheapest thing of a $500 Xbox Series X. And I get it. I don't have the money to throw at a PlayStation 5 right now to get Spider-Man 2. But that's the only place I can play Spider-Man 2. Right? That's my only option, is the $500 PlayStation for Spider-Man 2. Where if you're an Xbox person, then if you have other avenues, you have other ways to play those games. What else we got here? Go Wake in the Deep. Dungeons of, I don't know if that's in this trailer here, of Hitburg. This was probably the one I didn't like the most, just because of the art style. It was interesting. I appreciate the art style, but it's not for me. It's almost like a Hi-Fi Rush type of style looking a little bit, but then from that trailer and then from this, it kind of like loses it. And now it's almost like what was that game? What was that show back in the day? Adventure Time, kind of like an Adventure Time, or it almost looks like a Nickelodeon show, basically. I was hoping for Scalebound, which we can still see on Tuesday. I don't have an iPad to the cloud. And like I said, I just got a new LG C2 TV like 4 months ago. So not buying a new TV. So personally, I don't have to buy a box or nothing. That's what Showcase sold me. Understandable. So it doesn't take the fact away that you can buy it on other things. You don't have to buy an Xbox. Then we had Cyberpunk, the trailer for Cyberpunk, Phantom Liberty, with Keanu Reeves selling it to us. Now, I have to admit, watching this, I was like, I do have Cyberpunk, but I refuse to play it because of what they did. That's a personal thing. But I am interested. I am interested. I might play this, but I might not play it online. I might not play it on stream, I should say. Maybe I'll play it off stream. But I just don't have the time to jump into a massive game like this. It's a massive, easy 60 to 100-hour game, right? And I don't have time to jump in because I'm enjoying the same games that I'm playing right now with, Division, Diablo, all the other independent games we're playing, like Starship Troopers and whatnot. And I don't have time to throw into another one of, like this. But this did get me. I was like, I'll wait, see if it gets good reviews and get good stuff. And then if it does, then we'll give it a shot. Cyberpunk has come a long way. It's dope now. Definitely worth the play through. Own downtime. That's the problem. That's the problem. When I'm not streaming and I have downtime, I don't know if I want to put it into this game. Which is so sad because leading up to this, like, before it even came out, I was like, oh man, I can't wait to play this game. And then we got closer and I was like, oh, don't play it. I said, don't buy it if you're on console. And then it came out and then it blew up on consoles, literally on some consoles. So much so that Sony PlayStation was like, yeah, we're not selling that. Take it off the market. Wait for expansion when the new patch comes out. Won't be disappointed. Right, but that's what I'm saying. I'll just wait for this and then see if it's good, not buggy, not glitchy, and then I'll get it. So, Phantom Liberty. From that, we went to City Skylines 2. City Skylines 2, I know a lot of people are like, this looks so boring, but City Skylines is probably the best city builder. I mean, we're talking City Skylines 1. We're talking Sim City back in the day. Travis asked me yesterday, what's the big sell of these types of games? They look boring as hell. I just love, like, this is like a downtime type of thing. Speaking of downtimes, like when I don't want to like shoot something or blow up something or worry about crunching numbers or any of this stuff, I just want to be like a city builder. And I kind of want to like recreate the city I'm in or make my own city and see if it works. Like, to me, it's absolutely fun as hell. I love these simulator type games. I love these city buildings. I love these park games like a theme park, Roller Coaster Tycoon. What's that other one? I can't think of it now. Park, not Roller Coaster Tycoon. There's the other one. What's the new one? No, this is not DLC. City Skylines has like 20 DLC. Oh, yeah, it has a lot of DLCs. No, what's the one with the theme park one? Roller Coaster, not Roller Coaster. I keep wanting to say I own it. I can't think of it. I own it and I can't even think of it. Holy Christ. Drawing a blank. Is it That's coming out October 24th, which is right around the corner. Planet Coaster. Thank you. Thank you, Kylo in general. That's it. Right? I love playing that. My son really likes playing that game. Yeah, Planet Coaster is a fantastic. Yeah. Then you have Towerborn. This looked interesting as well. Where is this one? Oh yeah, City Skylines is a fantastic game. And I could play those games by just doing the non-campaign, just sandbox mode. But I love the situations like you have a city and you have to do the campaign, you have to try to fix the certain industries. It's almost like the tutorial. You play through the campaign, it's like a tutorial, and then when you do your own city building. And if you go online, if you really like City Skylines, go online and look up some people's builds for cities and the way they do the roads and stuff. It's amazing. It's amazing. Some of the recreations of cities they do, or their own cities, and how they make the lands and the different islands and the different, just really, really, really cool stuff. This was interesting with the co-op, and they say it's an open world, but it's a side scroller, but it's an open world. It feels a little weird to me. I would like to try this game out, and I can, because it's on Game Pass. Oh yeah, Kylo. Some of the parks that people create and the roller coasters they do with the themes as they go through. Oh my God. I could show you one. And you know they spent hundreds and hundreds of hours making those things. That game looks good as well. What time we got here? 7 o'clock. What else we got? We got, oh, Clockwork Revolution. Clockwork Revolution. This is the, I mean, this is the BioShock type of esque. This looked very cool. Obviously, it's not coming out. I don't think this is coming out in 2024. I think this is coming out like 2025 time frame. Planet Coaster was on Game Pass. I don't know if it's still on Game Pass. I know City Skylines is on Game Pass right now, I believe. Oh, no problem, Hilly. Appreciate you watching, man. Can we just say how ridiculous that is? He's got robots pulling him along with a red carpet, and he's on like a treadmill. As they're moving, he's moving. I think this game looks really interesting. But we're far off from it. And that's the last one I have. I know we have Metaphor, and we also missed out on... Oh, because I didn't write that down. That's why. I know Metaphor, and there was something else. But yeah. Clockwork Revolution. Looks very interesting. I'm excited to see when that comes out in 2025, because it ain't coming out before that, I can tell you that. So it says they showed 27 games showcased, 21 are coming to Game Pass, 13 from our first-party studios, they say. So that's big. So if you think about it, 12 world premieres, or 13 from first-party games. So over the next 18 months, they have 13 first-party title games that they showed. And then with the extended, they could potentially show more, because there are games that they didn't show. Like we have an Indiana Jones game we don't know about by Bethesda. That could come out sometime next year or maybe in 2025. I think it's a little weird that they have a game working on Indiana Jones. The Indiana Jones movie's coming out, but yet they didn't say anything about Indiana Jones. I wonder if they're holding it back because of the crap that Indiana Jones is getting, and they don't want it to hurt the sales or the pre-orders or whatnot. I think that's inevitable. I think if the movie comes out and it bombs, I think that's just what people are going to be like, I hope this is better than the movie type of thing. So hopefully the game, sort of like my Star Wars, like Star Wars shows and movies are in the dumpster for me, but the games are high praise. I like the Star Wars games. Maybe Indiana Jones, the Bethesda game that they're working on, you know, maybe the movie sucks. Crystal Skull, which doesn't exist to me, and then this one, the Dial of Destiny, sounds like soap, might suck as well. And maybe the game will be better. Maybe the stock in movies is down, but the game stock will be up. They mentioned the game so vaguely, I feel like it still has a while. Well, I think because it's being worked on, I think, by Bethesda Softworks. And I believe they don't want to kind of like overshadow because of Starfield. You know what I mean? So they might mention it. I mean, what, they showed the trailer last year, just the title sequence. So it's probably not coming out till 2025. And then of course we have, you know, here's a shot of basically most of the stuff, if not all the stuff. Yeah, 24, that's 27. There's all the things they showed. I thought it was a stacked show. I think it's exactly what Xbox needed to do, right? I know, like, Rose said that he's not interested in buying a game, and I know there's a lot of people like that. But I think what this did for a lot of people that have an Xbox, going like Stealth. I don't know if Stealth is here. Stealth said that if they don't show me something, I'm getting rid of my Xbox. Now, I don't know if Stealth's here. Maybe he can elaborate if they did show him something where he's staying now. Okay. But as I wasn't never going to get rid of my Xbox, just because in my situation, my son is a big gamer, or turning into a big gamer. He has an S, I have an X. We play games all the time, back and forth. Game Pass as a family is a godsend. It saves me tons and tons of money. Okay. They announced 21 games coming to Game Pass, and even third-party title games are coming to Game Pass. As a streamer, okay, I'm a small streamer, okay? If all these games I had to pay for as a streamer, I would have to try to get codes for them and whatnot. Now I don't even have to bother getting codes because they're just coming to Game Pass. Now, if it comes out early, a big game comes out early, and I want to get codes, I know this is a very specific situation, but Game Pass saves me a ton of time and money, okay? And one day I'll get the PlayStation 5 so I can cover the PlayStation 5 games at the first-party title. But overall, this is a big win for Xbox. They came out and they showed you games that are coming in the next 18 months, right? Even though they say 2024, doesn't mean they're coming out, but at least there's something out there to go, hey, there's a lot of games here. 13 first-party title games that they showed just yesterday. There might be more coming down the road. We do know that there's an Indiana Jones game. So that's another game that's coming out. We know Silk Song is coming out. We know that, where's the other one that they didn't show? There was one more game that was in my head earlier. But there's games that we know that are coming out. Scalebound might come back at some time down the road as well. So there's a lot of games that are coming out for the system. So if you are an Xbox person inside the ecosystem right now, you can get excited. It's over the next 18 months or whatnot, but at least there's games coming out. The big standouts for me, obviously, Starfield, which we'll talk about in just a second. Fable. I'm a big Fable fan. Avowed piqued my interest as well. Elder Scrolls Necrom, when I have time, I'll go back and hit that up. Towerborn looked interesting. I would like to play that. Clockwork Revolution looks interesting, but that's out until like 2025, I'll be honest with you. Star Wars Outlaws is a big one that I'm interested in. The rest of them, Payday, I'll play. City Skylines, I'll play. Microsoft's Flight Sim, I'll give it a shot. Sea of Thieves, if I hear good things about it, I'll go back and play the story missions of Monkey Island. So there's a lot of stuff here. Out of all the stuff they showed out of the 27 games, I'm interested, I would say, in about half of them to play. 30th Cyberpunk 27 new DLC looks good. You haven't seen it? No, I saw it. I just don't think I'll play it, though, Jesse. I don't think I'll play it. Yeah, my 5-year-old plays random games and has the attention span of a 5-year-old. So I don't buy games for him. I just Game Pass. You feel what I'm saying, Magic? You know what I'm saying? Imagine, and I had a conversation with Boss last night on Discord a little bit. I was like, he's like, well, what are they selling? I'm like, they're selling Game Pass. And as a kid, right, we owned a ton of games. We would purchase a ton of games. But you know what I would do a lot? I would rent games. I would go to Blockbuster, or I would go to Hollywood Studio or Hollywood Video, or I would go to this other local place called Video Extron. Okay, I would go to Albertsons. Okay, and I would rent games for $3, $2, $5. You know what I mean? And I would rent a crap ton of games that I didn't have the money to buy as a kid, right? So I would do my chores. My dad and my mom would bring me to one of the stores and be like, "Can I rent this?" Like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." And then I would rent these games. Well, now there is no Blockbuster. There's Redbox, right? That you can go rent games and stuff from. There might be a local store that maybe rents games to you, right? So my son's Blockbuster, my son's Hollywood Video, my son's Video Extron is Game Pass, right? Game Pass comes out and you're like, yeah, sure, go ahead, download that, play it out. You don't like it, doesn't matter, just deletes it. That is his Blockbuster. That is his rental units of what he is. He does his chores. He says, "Can I play this game?" I say, "Sure, go ahead." Right? That's exactly what this is. That's exactly what this is. If you want to call it the bargain bin, which I've done in the past, that's what this is, right? You're looking for games. You're like, I can't afford a $70 game. You go over to the bargain bin. You're like, hey, let me go through this. Oh, that's a pretty good game. That's a pretty good thing, right? We've all done it, right? Don't sit here and tell me you've never purchased a DVD, a CD, or a video game from the bargain bin, okay? Because you're lying. I do GameFly for him. For the Switch, and I wanted a Sonic Frontiers. He played for the first 20 minutes. Man, I miss Blockbuster. Nothing like going in there on a Friday night. Exactly. I grew up in South Florida. And then they showed. We'll get to Starfield in just a second. And then they showed this thing, which I thought was kind of a whatever. I was like, oh, great. They made a Xbox Potato S black version with a 1 terabyte. I hope that there's more to this than just the 1 terabyte. I hope there's more than just the 1 terabyte. But that's coming out September 1st. Why is the September 1st coming out? Well, the S is the better selling console. The S is the better selling console, right? And the majority of the gamers, right? I know people, because this is our next topic. This is our next conversation. The 30 frames, 60 frames per second Starfield debacle going on, right? I said it months and months ago on multiple podcasts, on other people's podcasts. I said it's coming out and it's going to be 30 frames per second. I said it yesterday when they showed it, okay? And they showed Starfield, and they said that Starfield wasn't. They didn't say anything about 60 frames per second, and someone said it's 30 frames per second, and then other people got really defended about it, and they're like, well, they didn't say it was 60. So it doesn't mean it's not 60. And I'm like, no, not saying is saying. Not referencing the actual frames per second right off the bat or anywhere in the show or even at the end, and they waited till after the thing was done, and then they had an interview afterwards and then brought it up. I knew 100% that this game was not going to be 30 frames per second. If you watched it yesterday, you knew it was 30 frames per second. Okay? Now, Starfield. Let me see if do we have the Starfield footage here? Yeah. Right? They came out for 45 minutes. 45 minutes and showed Starfield. Now, say what you want about Bethesda, say what you want about Starfield, but no game has gone into this much depth to show and sell you on something. Now, this game was supposed to come out a year ago. I don't forget that, okay? I know that it was supposed to come out a year ago. It was already supposed to come out a couple weeks ago, and then you know what I'm saying? Like, it was supposed to be out, okay? They put it back in the oven. They're baking it again to top it off or whatever. And I have to admit, it did look better. The gameplay looked better. The gunplay looked better, okay? Starfield is this fantasy game. Like, if you guys ever played Mass Effect 2, okay? If you ever played Mass Effect 2, I thought I was like Captain Kirk. I know some of you like Captain Picard, right? I thought I was Captain Kirk. I was the person of my own ship, and I had a crew, and I felt like this bond, right, with my crew. In this, I had that fantasy of like I could be a captain of my ship, and I have my crew, okay? And as an RPG, as a fantasy, I can be my own captain of my ship, and they said that you could build the ship that whatever you want on the ship and make it the way you want, right? And I was like, oh, this is cool, okay? I think the game itself, if Todd never said 1,000 planets, right? Because Todd always does this, right? When Todd said there's 1,000 planets, I was like, oh, this is that 16 times the detail thing, right? If he just shut his mouth and never brought up the 1,000 planets and just said there's dozens of planets, dozens, that's all you had to say, dozens of planets to explore, I would have been okay with that. My problem with Starfield is not what they showed, it's what they said a year ago, over a year ago, okay, about there's 1,000 planets, okay? I think they're going to cater this game, and Bethesda's always good at this, right? But every game Bethesda Softworks has created, from from Morrowind, from Skyrim, from Fallout 3, from Fallout 4, right? All of those games have been nominated or won Game of the Year. The last game they worked on, okay, that they were a part of, which Fallout 76, which was shot dead on the starting line, and now is crawling up, and now it got back up, it's crawling, it's walking, and now it's a successful game 4 years later, okay? Bethesda is going to deliver a good story RPG elements. They've done it in every game before that, up to now, okay? Do I think the 60 frames per second is a game-breaking, like a game decision where people are not going to play it? Sure. But Todd came out and said, we want the high fidelity at 30 frames per second, okay? People play games at 30 frames per second. You might be at the echelon where you get sick or nauseous or whatever, right? I do believe they'll have a 60 frames per second down the line. They've done it to their other games. Why not do it for this one? But at launch, they want this game to come out, and they want it to be able to be played and look stunning, right? So, yeah, is it disappointing that it's 60 frames per second? Sure. Okay. But everyone makes it sound like Xbox Series X doesn't have any games on there that run at 60 frames per second. I mean, I'm playing a 60 frames per second game right now with Diablo. Sure, it's a top-down or whatever, right? I play Battlefield, right? There's over 900 plus games that play at 60 frames per second or higher, okay? Halo plays at 120 frames per second, okay? So there are games that do play, 900 of them, that have been upscaled or later at a later date, or older games that are now upscaled, but they're running at 60 frames per second. So is it disappointing that this game comes out and it's not running at 60 frames per second? Sure. Is it going to ruin my gaming experience because it's at 30 games? Me personally, no, it won't. Now, if you don't want to play 30 frames per second, you can play this on PC with Ultimate Game Pass. Heck, I said it with the showcase, you can notice a lot from the frame drops. I think it's going to run at a steady 30 frames. They said, he said, and again, take it with a grain of salt, Rose. Todd Howard said that the reason they're locking it at 30 frames per second, because it can run around 50 frames per second, I believe is what he said. But they lock it at 30 so they get a consistent 30. I don't know. Obviously, when the game comes out and Digital Foundry gets a hold of it, they'll see and tell us the truth, right? They're telling us. So I can't defend if it's going to run a solid 30 or not. I'm just saying what they said. Oh, but that's a game from birth to death. Good story is subjective. Passable story. I mean, Fallout 3 was a good story. Skyrim was a good story. Fallout 4 was a good story. And I'll be honest, Travis, I can't take what you say with a grain of salt or anything. You said it's a shit game, Fallout 4, and yet you put in, you put in 302 hours. So, and I know you said launch afterwards, but you said it was a shit game, and then you said it wasn't a shit game, and then it's the 302 hours later. So Yeah, obviously, subjective is always a thing. You don't actually have to say if it's going to be a good story or not. But Bethesda has good stories in all their past games. So I'm going to go with the proof in the pudding. The game looks like a breath, so breathtaking that the location's a zero-G combat, my game. Get the game at 60. They wouldn't have to limit it to physics or have a smart system that calls. Enjoying the game. My issue isn't 30 frames per second. I think definitely making a game-breaking 60 frames per second is a huge, especially in a shooter. I don't think it's a big problem, Rose, because it's not an online game. It's a single-player game. I 100% agree with you. If this had a multiplayer aspect of it and you're shooting at somebody like that, then yes, 100%. Lono will be complaining about it that he has a headache. Sure, but some people can't go backwards, right? Like, I can't play older games anymore, right? I don't want to play side scroller 8 pixels. My brain and my hand, I just can't take it, right? I don't get sick or nauseous. I just refuse to play it. Okay? But if a game comes out and it's a side scroller and it's an 8-bit whatever, and it's fun, I'm okay with it because the fun factor and the story overshadows what the problem is that I have with that game. Best part about Skyrim was the Civil War and the Dragon Slayer thing. Yeah, but Todd Howard has said a lot of stuff is untrue, but accurate. Remember, it just works, and I get that, but I can't judge something, right, and say that it's not going to have it until we see that doesn't have it, right? We could all speculate. Obviously, like I said, it was going to be 30 frames per second. Now it's proven that it's 30 frames per second. Okay, but I can't sit here and hate something that I think is going to happen, right? I already expected it was going to be 30 frames per second. So I'm not upset that it's not 60 frames per second because I knew that it was going to be 30 frames per second. And I've played hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games that have been 30 frames per second. Now, here's the crux of the argument, okay? Here's the crux of the argument. Let me show you something here, right? Everybody's upset, not that it's 30 frames per second. They're upset that it's a next gen, okay? The next gen. And they paid for the Xbox Series X to get the up to 120 frames. And that is where the hate is coming from. Not because Starfield is at 30 frames per second. It's at 30 frames per second on the Xbox Series X, where people purchase the Xbox Series X, okay? Now, this has been on the website since the launch of Xbox, okay? Now, I know you're going to have to squint a little bit, and I'll make it a lot bigger for you in a second, right? But it says Xbox Series X delivers sensationally smooth frame rate of up to 120 frames per second with the visual pop of HDR. Immerse yourself with the sharper character, brighter worlds, and impossible details at true life 4K. And then there's this green. Let me see if I can get this for you so you can see it. There's this green asterisk right here that's always been there. Okay? And then when you click on it, okay, it brings you down to this part right here. Okay? And let me make this nice and big for you so you can see it. Right? 4K at up to 120 frames per second requires support content and display. Use on Xbox Series X as content becomes available, right? That's the asterisk, right? This is the fine print of up to, okay? Now, this is me not making excuses. This is just a business, right? And this is how business works. They say big, bold words because people don't scroll. People don't even scroll through an article. They read the title and they don't even read the article, okay? Same exact thing. They see up to 4K, 120 frames per second. Boom, they take it off the shelf. It's big, bold on the box, and they take that away, right? That's what it is. But it's up to the developers. They said it's up to the developers. Even there's an interview we'll listen to in a second that Phil Spencer says it's up to the developers. Now, they were making this game way before Microsoft picked them up. Okay? Way before Microsoft picked it up. This game was already in wave production, and Todd Howard and ZeniMax and Bethesda already figured out that there was going to be 30 frames per second because he said it years ago before they even got picked up by Microsoft. Microsoft has been said from straight up from the front that they are hands off. They let the developers do what they want to do, and they would rather have a better 30 frames per second with the high fidelity than 60 frames per second with the shitty quality, right? That's what they said. So I know it sounds like I'm doing a scapegoat thing and I'm defending him here, but that's what the asterisk is, right? That's what it is. Up to 120 frames per second, right? But there's also a crap ton of games, right? There's a crap ton of games, right? Yes, Starfield is not 60 frames per second, but all of these games are, right? We're in the A's here. There's the B's. Okay? All of these games are running at a higher quality on the Xbox Series X, right? So someone's argument could be like, well, I'm buying it for the brand new games and I want the new games to come out. It says in the asterisk, when they become available, right? And when they become available, they'll update the list, right? That's on the X. Now, if you're a person that has a PC, okay, and an Xbox, and you pay for Ultimate, you can buy and play because it's locked on the consoles at 30 frames per second, but it's not locked on the PC at 30 frames per second. Okay, I'm still scrolling here. We're in the K's now. Okay, all of these games are at the higher up to 120 frames, right? Confirmed ship upgrades will be microtransaction $30 per upgrade. No, there's no confirmation for that. Not saying they're not doing it, but there's been no statement. We do know there's going to be a store of microtransactions, in-game shop somewhere down the line, but we do not know what that obtains. I bought this console knowing that it would not get 4K 120 frames top tier PC, can barely reach that mark on modern titles. You think $500 console will? It's common sense. I just upgraded my graphics card to 3060 RTX. Okay, I don't have a Ti. I just have a GeForce RTX 3060, right? And I get really good graphics now. Not solid on some of the games, right? Am I supposed to get mad at the company that, you know what I mean? I mean, here's an option. I understand this. I know here's an option. If you don't like that it's 30 frames per second, don't buy it, right? Don't buy it. Don't play it on Game Pass, right? I have games that I have on Game Pass I don't play because either I'm not interested in it or I just want to play it, right? I tried Redfall, and we're done with Redfall. I would have been pissed if I paid for Redfall. I didn't pay for Redfall. I think a lot of it is more because they were sold. I mean, look, you can go right here, right? They sell you right here. It's the second scrolling thing. Optimized for Xbox Series XS. Games built using the Xbox Series XS development kit showcase unparalleled load times, visuals, responsiveness, and frame rates up to 120 frames. Then you're like, oh, okay, right? So you click load more or learn more. And then it brings you here. This is game featuring the optimized for Xbox icon showcase, unparalleled load times, heightened visuals, center frame rates up to 120 frames per second. And this includes new titles built natively using the Xbox Series XS development environment, as well as previously released titles that have been rebuilt specifically for Xbox Series X and S, right? Nowhere does it say here in the wordage that every game that comes out is going to be 120 frames per second. And I know some of you might think, well, you're being, like cheeky here, but this is the words. Words on paper mean a lot of things. If you want to read between the lines or whatnot, they told you from the start. what it was. And if you look at the box, most people just buy 120 frames per second and they grab it. And then they start yelling that it's a lie. But it's up to the developer. It's up to the person making the game with the Xbox, right? This includes new titles built natively using the Xbox Series XS development environment, right? Does that mean all the games that are using that are up to 120 frames per second? From whatever it is, up to 120 frames per second. And that's based on the publisher and the developer making the game, right? 100%, to be honest, I was sold on the watch. My watch strap broke 5 years ago, and I miss having a watch. That thing looks amazing, and the game scope is just amazing. I will spend years building ships. But you see what I'm saying? People nowadays are looking to bitch about stuff, and I bitch a lot, right? Are looking to bitch about stuff. Okay? It's very simple. You might be upset and you don't want to play Starfield now because it's 30 frames per second. Is that their loss or is that your loss? They're not selling you a game. They're selling you a service. Just remember that now. There are people that are going to buy the special edition to get the case and get the watch and get all the other stuff, okay? But they're selling you a service. They're selling you Game Pass. They're not selling you Starfield. Starfield is part of Game Pass. So you, as the consumer, have a choice of, I'm going to go out and buy a $70 game, or I'm not going to go buy a $70 game, or I'm going to pay $10 a month to play the game, or I'm not going to pay $10 a game. Right? And you can be mad, and you can be upset that it's not 60 frames per second, and they lied, or whatever, but at the end of the day, the consumer, their choice is to pay $10 to play this game that people will probably, like Hilly, play for years and years just building ships, or not play it and go play something else. It's literally that simple, right? More people are upset that it's 30 frames per second than it's just exclusive on Xbox. No excuse for the potato, though. It's a fucking potato. But Sarge, most people, they do the research. Most people don't care about 30 frames per second. They don't. Most gamers. Okay? Let's just say 20%. Let's just say 20% of the 80 or of the 100%, the 2080 that make the most money off people, okay? 20% are people that care about 60 frames per second, 80% don't. Who are they marketing to? Who are they marketing to? If you care about the thing, then you get a PC. If you don't care, you get the S. Well, the S, I believe we saw an article a while ago that says 3-1. I believe I think the S is selling out over the X 3-1. Right? So is that people that don't want to pay double the price to get a $500 system? Or are those the people that just don't give a shit because they don't care about 30 frames or 60 frames? They're like, a whole box and 400 plus games for less than $500? It's no one's loss. They're not selling Starfield. It's Game Pass. Exactly. That's my point. That's been my point for years. I paid £250 for the game. They make great games. They do make great games. And they're everybody that played Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Skyrim, Morrowind, Oblivion, right? They loved every single one of those games. The people that played those games from Bethesda. There's going to be no difference with this game. But it's not even about people that don't care, Sarge. They don't care because they don't know. They don't care because they don't care. They don't care because they don't know. Most people don't know a difference between 30 frames, 60 frames, 120 frames, 1080p, 720p, 4K, 2K. Most people don't know. It's not that they don't care. They don't care to know. Most TVs even up to 120 hertz. Exactly. What is a game supposed to be? What is a game supposed to be? Right? Is it supposed to be the perfect thing in the world? Or is it supposed to be something that you can dive into and just forget your life for a bit? If that's for 8 hours, if that's for 50 hours, if that's for 500 hours, right? It's supposed to be fun. I agree. They showed enough to me. They make the game you get lost in. Can't articulate how but Bethesda do it. Right, Hilly. In native 4K with no DLSS, most games won't hit 120 frames per second. I'm included RTX on a maximum graphics, etc. 144 hertz is dope. That's what I'm on. The PlayStation 5 states the same thing on the box as well, Travis. I don't see PlayStation 5 games running at 4K 120 hertz. It's all just marketing ploy. Normal practice. Right, but PlayStation does have their first-party title games running on that. But it's a different category, right? They're building their games from the ground up. Microsoft purchased Bethesda when they were in mid-production of this game. That's the difference. See, the saving grace for PlayStation right now is that it's not on PlayStation. Because if it was on PlayStation, Xbox wouldn't be getting the shit on. It would be getting Bethesda would be getting shit on. Because if it was on PlayStation and Xbox, do you think it would run 60 frames per second on PlayStation, but not 60 frames per second on Xbox? Todd said he wants it on 30 frames. Regardless on what system it was going to be on, it was going to be stuck at 30 frames. For what we're seeing with Starfield, we can't look at this and go, hey, this looks like a shit game. It might look boring. It might be like Sarge doesn't like Westerns. Maybe some people don't like space, right? Space is very boring. Very lonely and boring. My biggest complaint for Starfield is that I wish there was co-op. Just one other person to explore the universe with. It looks like No Man's Fallout. I love No Man. I love Fallout. Combine the two, fantastic. You know how many people buy HDMI cables thinking that cable is going to give them the best resolution, but they didn't buy the right cable, and they plug it in, they look at it and go, look at that picture. It's fantastic. You see how good looking that is? And then someone that knows what they're doing is like, hey, you have a 4K TV here? You know this is not at 4K, right? They're like, what do you mean? You're like, yeah, this cable that you have plugged into you is not supporting your full resolution. But they don't care because they don't know. I think Starfield, let me bring it back to Starfield itself, right? But you're making such a big deal about 30 frames per second on Starfield, but you don't care about FPS, Travis. Last I checked, the game will be running at 0 frames per second on the PlayStation 5. Co-op would be really nice. I can live without it, but my best mate will likely get annoyed with screenshots and ships I've built. And that's my biggest... This is me bringing it back, Hilly. I'm glad you said that, right? My biggest issue with Starfield is that I want to experience this. I don't want to be on a headset. Like, if me and you played, we're both playing Starfield at the exact same time, and I go to a planet, and I build a base, right? I don't want to send screenshots to you. I want to invite you to my space station so you can walk around. I want to build a base with you and play the game. Hey, what do we need today? Well, we need some resources. Let's get in the ship and let's go on an adventure, right? Now you're on an adventure by yourself, right? Now you're on an adventure by yourself, and you have your NPCs, your companions. We've all had them in other games, and that feels cool, right? That feels cool, but it's gonna miss something when you're When you go to that 100th planet, when you go to that 150th planet, you build your 4th base, the 3rd base, and there's things happening on the planet. It just feels weird to me because we can all agree that No Man's Sky at launch compared to now is a worse game at launch than it is now, right? There's much more happening now that when I play No Man's Sky, if Sarge wants to come in, even though he doesn't play No Man's Sky, I can bring him into the game and he can come to my base and see my base. We can go on a mission together. We can go explore together. We can get in 2 ships together, go in space and fight pirates and whatnot, and it feels better. The story is going to be fantastic in this game. I do believe that the story is going to be great. It's after the campaign, after you're done with the story. Sure, you can make your 10th build and make a punch build or make a SMG build or make a ridiculous build, just like you did in all the other games that Bethesda made. But there's something about it. I complained about it in Fallout 3. I complained about it in Fallout 4. I complained about it in Skyrim. Every time I play a game and I'm on the headset with Sarge, I'm like, man, I wish this game was co-op. God, I wish this game was co-op. And here's their next game. 25 years in the making. And yet, God, I wish this was co-op. I think it will come 18 months out. May not, but the scope of the game, I think it'll take time. And I believe there is going to be a multiplayer aspect of it, but not at launch. I don't think they want to announce it and take it away from that. Yes, would it sell more if it was co-op and stuff? I think it would, but their vision is to make this space game with this single-player story to make you feel like you're an adventurer in space. And then down the line, like, I want people to come into my ship. I want people to come to my base. I want to see what your ship looks like. And I do believe that they will bring a multiplayer like a Grand Theft Auto online aspect. I do believe they'll do that. 1,000 Planets just seems really weird to me by yourself. I like to play games single player for the first 30 hours or so. General, I play in Diablo. I barely play with anybody. Most of the games that are co-op or whatnot, single player, I play the story by myself. Once I'm done with the story, if it's a multiplayer game, I have no problem playing with people. But I love playing games by myself for the story because when you play with someone else, they like skip the cutscene or they ruin it for you or stuff like that. So I always play single player and then play multiplayer. And that's the way I would want to play Starfield, especially in this vast open space, you know? I'm sure the mod team behind Skyrim with friends will bring a co-op. Oh, for sure. It'll be out in like a month after the game comes out, Kylo. I guarantee you that. What you're saying, space is lonely, Buzz Lightyear needs his Woody. Exactly, Horseman. My buddy says he's never leaving that whore planet and become a pimp. Co-op first DLC. Maybe. They can almost sell it twice over if they add multiplayer as a big DLC. Well, here's why I think there's multiplayer, right? Here's why I think there's multiplayer down the road. I believe because you can customize your ship, make it different colors and different things, different shapes. You can't share with anybody. And you can customize your outfit and do all the different things. Just like Fallout 76, I can see what someone's wearing. I can see what someone's building, what their house looks like, what the things, go on adventures, collect stuff, right? That sells more microtransactions for them, right? Fallout 76 is a successful game, even though if people don't like it. It's a successful game because it can sell you stuff. Because you see other people's houses and different things and you want to go for it or you want to purchase it because other people see your stuff. If Buzz Lightyear is in this game, I'd be his Woody. Single player greater than multiplayer. Up to a point. I'll agree with you, Travis. It all depends on what the game is. He said one of the largest cities they have ever built. So you can walk around it alone. Exactly. Right. I've played every Diablo ever exclusively on my own. Bro, go back. Look at that beard. Which beard? What beard? This guy's beard? This guy's beard or the beard in the customization thing? Was Fallout 76 multiplayer at launch? Yes. They wanted people to be it didn't have humans in the game, but it was multiplayer. That's what it was. Yeah. But what they noticed, because they wanted people to go PvP, And what they noticed was people didn't want to play PvP. They wanted to make a community and then go on missions together and play co-op. Because everyone's been asking for co-op Fallout for fucking ever. Is it 30? Is it just weird to me, or Outer Worlds looks better? It's a different style. I mean, that's subjective. I think a lot of this is once you get it in front of you and look at it. Like, for instance, when I saw Jedi Survivor, I said, it looks good. But when I get Jedi Survivor and play it on my screen, it looks fantastic. You know what I mean? Didn't even think about this at all. Things floating there in space, is it going to hamper the frames in favor of physics? 30 makes more sense. Yeah, but that's what Todd was saying. Well, I'm gonna find the interview with Todd that he says something real quick. Let me find that interview real fast. Oh wait, I think we have it in our posted in our. You guys are on. Good stories. Yeah, right here. Krebsy the man.
We do lock it at 30 because we want that fidelity. We want all that stuff. We don't want to sacrifice any of it. Fortunately, in this one, we've got it running great. It's often running way above that. Sometimes it's 60. But on the consoles, we do lock it because we prefer the consistency.
Yeah.
Right? You're not even thinking about it. And we don't ever want to sacrifice that experience that makes our games, really, really special. So feels great. We're really happy with how it feels even in the heat of battle. And we need that headroom because, in our games, really anything can happen. It's 4K.
So let's go over that, right? He's saying that we want it to feel great. And if they can't get it to 60 to make it feel great, as a gamer, what would you rather have? 60 and feel like shit, or 30 and feel good? Right? Because it's a lose-lose situation with the most of the majority of players that play, right? You guys want something, and then you get it, and then it's broke, and you're like, oh, they couldn't do it correctly, right? Now, obviously, same thing could happen right now. 30 frames per second, and the game still doesn't run very well. Right? So then you look at it and go, well, if it's not running at 30 very well, what the hell would it look like at 60? 30. So Starfield is 30 frames per second with 4K. Yes. Todd Howard says that Starfield will be 4K, 30 frames per second on the Xbox Series X, and 1440p, 30 frames per second on Xbox Series S. And then if you want to play it at a higher frame rate, then you get it for PC. And you can play it on PC. This is not a coincidence. You can play it on PC with the Ultimate Game Pass, right? They want you in Game Pass. They don't care that you buy an Xbox. They want you in Game Pass. Majority of the people that play the game want it, and they don't care about 30 frames per second. It's not that they don't care, is that they don't know to care. It looks like one of the best RPGs ever made. I can't wait. It looks great. I know a lot of people are going to be super pissed off about the 60 frames per second, but it's like telling the cook how to cook. It's telling the artist how to be an artist. They're doing what they feel is best for their product. And then people are like, nah, you fucked it up. Are you disappointed? Yeah. I'm not. I knew it was going 30 frames going into it. I have that 30 gut, right? I have that 30 gut. I make predictions all the time. Hence why we use this emote. Okay. Right? It's just that feeling you have. Oh, let me watch. Let's watch it one more time. Let's listen to it one more time. Let's listen to it one more time. Where is it? Is it? Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
$1540 on the S. We do lock it at 30 because we want that fidelity. We want all that stuff. We don't want to sacrifice any of it. Fortunately, in this one, we've got it running great. It's often running way above that. Sometimes it's 60. But on the consoles, we do lock it because we prefer the consistency.
See, hold on. Let's rewind it there for a second, right?
All that stuff. We don't want to sacrifice any of it. Fortunately, in this one, we've got it running great. It's often running way above that. Sometimes it's 60.
Way above 30. Sometimes it's 60. So he's already admitting that it doesn't hit a consistent 60 frames per second. Okay? It's way above it, he's saying. So they lock it at 30. Now, Rose might be right. It might dip down below 20 at certain points in the game, right?
But on the consoles, we do lock it because we prefer the consistency.
So what you're going to see now is you're going to see people that are on PC that it dips below 60 and they're going to be pissed about it, right? Now think about who's more upset. The person that paid $2,000 for their PC that can't run 60 frames per second, or the person that paid $500 is running at 30 frames per second, right? I think both have a reason to be angry, but I think the person on PC that can't run 60 frames per second is going to be a little bit more upset than the person on Xbox that's having a smooth experience at 30 frames per second.
Yeah.
Right? You're not even thinking about it. And we don't ever want to sacrifice that experience that makes our games, really, really special. So feels great. We're really happy with how it feels, even in the heat of battle. And we need that headroom because, in our games, really anything can happen.
So he's admitting there as well. Even in the battles, we need that headroom. So if they lock it at 30, and let's say it's running at 50, 55 frames per second, but then all of a sudden it dips and it drops below, they need that hard floor bottom to keep it at so it doesn't go below 30. Now, obviously, is it not going to go below 30? It probably will. I'm sure that their biggest city ever is going to hinder it at certain points when you're in combat. Let's see what else we got this morning about Starfield. I'm trying to figure out 12 o'clock. We got about a half hour more, and then we're going to switch streams into leading up into the Ubisoft Forward today. We do have another stream coming up. Go back here. Sarge, what were you talking about as far as the beard? Are you talking about the beard in the customization? Morning, Chief. Emmy, what's going on, man? And then people are saying, well, the visuals look off, like the faces and stuff. This is the same engine they've been using for 25 years. They upgraded their engine. People say 76 was terrible graphics, but cannot think of a multiplayer game with better graphics. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't think you are. I think a lot of people bitch for a lot of different reasons, General. And again, I bitch about stuff as well, but I also look at it and justify certain things why they do it, right? If an artist paints with a certain brush, I can look at it and go, man, that picture would have been better if you did ink instead of paint. But the artist chose to use pastels or chose to use something. These are artists and they chose to do something for a reason. Maybe they used chalk because they didn't have a pen. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they didn't have those resources to them, so they had to choose something else. The NPC's beard was ridiculous. Let me see if I can find it. Was it all spotchy? Is that what it was? Is that what you're talking about? Like, I'm just looking at this scene right here. This scene right here, where you're on the deck, and all of a sudden there's NPCs walking around, and they're moving into, like, the gunning position, and they're walking around the war table and stuff. I mean, as a single player, I'm fantasizing that I'm the captain of this ship, baby. What's going on, Super Dave? Yeah, I think we see the Avatar game, Travis, for sure. I think we see that. I think we see the Star Wars game. We see Assassin's Creed Mirage. We see the update for Division. It's the ships that blow me away, man. God, the more I look at this, the more I want co-op. I'm not sure if it might be a half hour, it might be an hour. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, Paul. Here's the best part. They show the I was worried about what the worlds are going to be, right? And I think, let me see if this is the part right here. Let me see. Hold on, I muted it, so.
We want to give you freedom on a galactic level. The freedom to experience both the exciting planets and the quiet ones. Scanning a planet before you land is a great way to get a sneak peek at the available resources.
Okay, so you scan a planet, it tells you type rock, tells you the temperature, tells you the atmosphere, tells you the magnosphere, tells you the fauna. This is just like No Man's Sky. Okay, it tells you the resources that are on the planet. Okay,
scanning a planet before you land is a great way to get a sneak peek at the available.
Okay, so this particular planet that he's highlighting right now only has 3 resources, right? I don't know what these are. I don't know my periodic table off the top of my head. Okay, aluminium, I think, and I'm not sure what the other one is. Okay, then they go to this planet, and it has all of these resources. Okay, now here's my issue with the resources and the planets. Okay, so let's say I'm done with the campaign. I need to explore. I want to go see what's on one planet. So I go to this planet. Let's just call it planet 264. So I go to 264, and it has magnesium or copper on there. Okay, so then I go to that planet because I need magnesium and copper. But now I got to go find oxygen or H2O on another planet or whatever. Okay, so now in the same atmosphere or universe, I back out of the galaxy and I go find another planet. Now, planet 365 has what I'm looking for, but then so does 455, and so does 666, and so does 971, right? Like, what is the difference between all of these planets? Because this is what happens in No Man's Sky. I don't need to go to the trillion planets to yeah, you can explore, but on most of those planets, there was nothing when you were playing by yourself. Now, because it's multiplayer, you could go to planet Quintillion, land on the planet, and someone built a base, a player base, because they found the base, they found the planet, they named the planet, they now have a base on there. You go up there, you can land your ship. There's other things. How are they going to make this interesting in a single player game? Because No Man's Sky couldn't do it. Other games that came before it that's in space couldn't do it. So what are they going to do here? I'm telling you, once you're done with the story and they handcrafted like 10 planets with stuff on it, it's going to feel great. But then after that, they talk about it here a little bit.
You can use for crafting, building, and customizing.
I think what's cool about this whole system that we generate the planet itself as a procedural content, but the handcrafted content itself comes as the player explore. Our
So the planet's procedurally generated. Okay.
system builds a planet as the player approaches it. We stitch together a block of terrain. After that, we have the system that adds interesting locations
This is what No Man's Sky does.
for the player to explore, creatures to encounter, ore and plants to pick up. It allows us to add that touch of environmental storytelling that Bethesda is known for.
Aggressive creatures have been disrupting our experiments. Their habitat isn't far from here. If you could take care of them for us, we would be in your debt.
So even if your friends were to visit the same planet that you had, you would have a different story to tell.
I might buy this game on PC straight up, but not through Microsoft, right? It comes to Steam too, right? I might buy it on Steam just so I could mod it down the road. Why is it a Game Pass game? Or why is it? It's a Game Pass game. Because Game Pass, you can't do the mods. You have to pay for those mods, right? So if the mod community makes... Picture this, Travis. Why pay for anything? It's on Game Pass. I'm telling you why. Because the mod community is going to make some really kick-ass stuff. And I'm looking for a great Star Wars game. So I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a modder right now that turns this whole freaking thing into Star Wars. And I'm all about that.
It's completely up to you.
The gunplay looks good.
How you want to interact with each planet. Whether you want to explore and see what you can find.
But that's the thing, though. Is there going to be stuff to find? Do you know what I mean?
Harvest resources and be on your way. Or simply take in the views. With the help of your scanner, you'll chart the uncharted and discover exotic wildlife.
This is the same thing you do in No Man's Sky. I hate to make the comparisons, but this is exactly what you do in No Man's Sky. And I'm not trying to minimize what they're doing here. I'm just saying same stuff that you do in No Man's Sky.
If you have the skills, you can even figure out that certain creatures and plants, you can build an outpost and produce resources from those plants and animals. You can get experience and rewards for fully surveying planets and fully surveying a whole system.
When we were concepting these creatures, we really wanted to think of them as natural to the environment. We didn't want alien monsters. We wanted native wildlife. Something you've never seen before.
When it comes to our exteriors, when the sun moves, all that light is calculated in real time through the atmosphere. Our biggest goal for lighting with Starfield
God, I want this to be co-op so bad.
was to make the game feel more filmic, to use lighting and color to really make it feel more cinematic.
Like, okay, look at this shot here, right? And the only reason, because if I've never saw No Man's Sky before and I didn't play 400 hours worth of No Man's Sky, I would look at this and go, oh, cool, I get to go there. But then when I look at this, I'm like, yeah, I've been on plenty of those planets, and they ain't shit there. You know what I mean? And I 100% get like people look at this and go, I can't wait to explore what's beyond that hill, right? And I look at that and go, I've been beyond that hill in other games that do the exact same thing, and there's never nothing there, right? There's nothing over there. It's boring. I get back in my ship and I travel back up into space. Like, look at it, looks amazing. What can I find over there? Is there a cave? Is there a certain thing? Am I gonna find a chest? Am I gonna find a dead body? Am I gonna find a laser gun that's like super rare? You know what I mean? Maybe. But how big is this? If there's 1,000 planets, like, come on. I bet you've never even been to 1,000 planets in No Man's Sky. I haven't. And I played that game for 400, 500 hours. I bet there's a lot of wasted time over there. Exactly. But that's the fun of the game. Go explore. Maybe you'll find something. But my thing is, how many times do you have to do it before you're like, fuck it, I'm not going over there anymore. I haven't found anything on the other 50 planets. Sarge says, my question is, how do you go back to making Elder Scrolls 6 when you just got done making a universe? Isn't that going backwards? Yes and no. I mean, you can make one whole planet for Elder Scrolls 6. I promise you, a banger of a laser gun is over that hill. Screenshot, you will see. Hilly, I'm going to let you go first. And if you find something, you let me know. You take a screenshot and share it with me.
You can find a spot to set up a base camp. Outposts can be built almost anywhere.
Here's another thing. Outposts. I love the concept of building outposts. Okay? I love it. I'm like, oh, sweet. I could build a base. I'm going to build that base. I'm going to decorate that base. It's going to be so awesome. For what? For what? Once I build one base on one planet, why am I building another base on the 10th planet or the 100th planet or the 1,000th planet? Can I travel between them? Is there going to be a portal I can go through? Can I fast travel from one to the other, or do I have to get back in my ship and go?
On any planet. And the habitat modules come in all shapes and sizes, filling all different purposes. You can even live in them. Assign crew and companions to work at your outposts for added bonuses.
That's actually pretty cool. I missed that yesterday. You can hire a crew to work the stuff. Okay.
And set up extractors to harvest resources while you're away.
Which you can do at No Man's Sky, by the way.
Something cool we have this time is we have a new fly cam where you can toggle between on-foot building, or you can now use a top-down isometric camera, which helps plan out larger parts of the outpost and placing those larger halves. So that way you can really plan your structures and what the overall feel of your outpost is. And then when you're on your feet, you can really decorate and fine-tune things much easier.
You're thinking wrong. You need a bigger dream. How do you think the Empire was built? With one outpost? No, a post on every planet. Yeah, but why am I know I'm being very, very cynical here, Hilly. I don't mind doing it for one base, right? Like my one base, I do decorative. I do it in Fallout 76. I like my base. I decorate my base so because other people are coming by and they'll look at it and go, "Oh, that's pretty cool." But why am I doing it here? Especially since how often am I spending time in my base? I'm probably spending more time on my ship, right? I don't think you have to do it though, Travis. You don't need to disable it. I don't
Add
think you need to do
crafting
it.
and research stations in your outpost to utilize any resources you find or already have.
Mod your weapons to adapt them to your playstyle. Different weapon sights and scopes. Larger magazines.
If I can't do this on my ship, that's going to be an update down the road. If I can't do this in my ship, because what about if I want to be a hermit? What about if I don't want to build a base? What about if I want to live on my ship? I'm a homeless hobo smuggler that lives on my ship. Okay, I want a gun customization thing on my ship that I can upgrade.
A selection of grips and barrels. Different ammunition like explosive rounds. All you stealth players out there will surely need a suppressor. You can
Yeah, see,
also
I think the combat looks good.
choose to go hands-on with melee weapons.
I think it's always a delicate balance between like what's realistic, what's sim, and what's Hollywood. And I think we sort of err on the side of like what's fun for the player.
With Starfield, we've completely overhauled our combat. It's more dynamic, the animations are more fluid.
But you are enjoying the story, Travis. You don't have to make your own. There is a campaign. There is a story that you're driven to do.
It just feels great.
We probably have more mods and more weapons in this game than I want to say any other game we've done before. There's a lot of variety.
Upgraded gear is just one of the many factors to pay attention to when engaging in combat. You may need to switch things up based on your environment. Gravity is different for each planet, and boost packs are excellent for getting around. And for giving you an edge in.
But Magic, what about if I just want to go around and smuggle and steal from other ships? Maybe I don't want to do a resource farm. See, that's the cool part about the game. I want to be the Han Solo. I want to be a Captain Kirk Han Solo character. You know what I mean?
In combat. Sometimes you'll even feel like you're flying. Zero-gravity environments pose a different challenge. Firing a ballistic weapon in zero-G will actually push you backwards. Energy weapons, on the other hand, offer a more stable shooting experience.
We also have mag weapons. These are high-powered electromagnetic induction ballistic arrays. Each barrel has its own targeting laser and can dish out some serious damage.
Yeah, how far can you take that, Dustin, right? How far can you take, like, can I steal someone's ship, bring it back to my base? Right? And then I own that ship? Like, what can I do? Do I have to purchase ships, or can I steal someone else's ship?
Whether you want to get up close and personal with your own two fists, or you like more compact weapons like pistols and submachine guns.
I'm going to sleep with everybody. I'm sleeping with every person. Like I said, I want to be Captain Kirk and Han Solo all mixed into one.
Or maybe you prefer something bigger. Starfield's got you covered.
Yeah, but Travis, to say that you're sick of seeing this building crap, you don't want to see building in like Final Fantasy. This is not Final Fantasy. This is a brand new IP. To bring building mechanic into like a Final Fantasy, I understand what you're saying, but this is a brand new IP that they're putting building into it. Like, this is not like the second installment of Starfield, and they're putting it in. They're putting it in from the brand new IP. They're establishing what the game is. Did he just do a special power there? I missed this yesterday. Did he just come in? Does he have the force?
Thanks again.
Does he have the Force? I mean, not the Force, but you know what I mean. Can I pretend? Can I pretend that I'm a Jedi?
Thanks again for being with us today. We are just so grateful that you've taken the time and spent it here. I know there was probably a lot to take in. There's a lot to the game, even more than we could show here. You know, as we play it, we're always sharing these unique and special moments that only a game like this can bring. When I think about what makes it special, it really is the people here. This game is a reflection of the incredible and passionate team that made it. All of them putting something special of themselves into it. So let's hear some of their favorite moments.
I love the way that our final combination of all the new tech has come together to create some of the most beautiful sunsets and sunrises we've ever had in any of our games.
I look at that screenshot and I'm like, I know, Hilly, you're looking at this going, I can't wait to see what's over that hill. I look at this and go, I'm not going over that hill because it's a waste of time. Two different pictures and we see two different things. I'm like, I've played so many space games and I'm like, oh man, that looks so awesome. And then I'm like, yeah, I can't find anything.
I love the creatures, the exploration, every biome is different. The word that comes to mind is vast.
I like to use our photo mode to take rock star photos.
I just love that constant feel of discovery and wow, I can't believe
Now, every nook and cranny in the city, that's my jam.
that there's more here.
I'm most excited about our outpost building systems.
My favorite part is every time you step out on a planet, it's a unique experience.
Be careful what you say. Be careful what you say.
You spent all this time building your...
I'm interested in the shipbuilding. We're going to build the closest thing to the Millennium Falcon as it can possibly be.
Ship, and you see it on the landing pad. These things are gigantic. It's the kind of thing that you just can't get anywhere else.
There's something about seeing a tower over in the distance and going, I know the gravity's low here. I think I can make that jump.
My favorite part is biomes, spaceships,
Audio design,
planets,
The day-night cycle, those details matter to me. Diplomacy, exploration, freedom.
the ending.
Beskha, obviously.
I love the robot so much.
The incredible amount of
You see, you love the robot, the companion. I've always liked the companions, but I always wanted a real companion, like an actual friend playing the game with me
worlds we
in any of their games.
created.
Sniper rifles, come on.
Lever action.
That's the best part about Fallout 76. The best part about Fallout 76 is that you can play with a buddy.
Rocket launcher.
Brain sprout. I love, but some people might find creepy. I don't know. I know it's right, Ben. The thing that I enjoy most about the game is the freedom to be who you want to be, do what you want to do. It's what you've come to expect.
Don't you find this shot weird? You see a robot running with two people in the foreground. You're like, well, seems like it's co-op. Hanging out with my friend. Nope. You're hanging out with nobody.
You want to be, do what you want to do. It's what you've come to expect from a Bethesda title, but on a much bigger scale.
On behalf of all of us, we can't wait for you to play Starfield and make your own special.
I think, look, I'm excited for the game. I am excited for the game. As me as a streamer, it's going to be fun playing the game, you guys watching, and then I build my base and you can see it, right? But if you're a person that doesn't have social media or doesn't have a lot of friends, no one's going to see your buildings. No one's going to see anything. You're just going to enjoy yourself, and you might like that. But I think this game would be so much better. Not multi. I don't want massive multiplayer. I just want one other person to be in my world to play along with me, right? And I think that's where Fallout 76 does shine, because I can have my companion, and I can have a person play along with us. Then if the group gets too big, then the NPCs leave out, right? And I think that is a cool feature of Fallout 76. Like when you go do all your exploring and you go into the dungeons and you go into the caves and you go into to certain areas in the world, you have a buddy with you. I hope down the road that Starfield, if it's 12 months, if it's 18 months down the line, that they do add some sort of, if it is a Fallout First type of private server, you can play with your friends on that server. If they have something like that, I can see something like that being really, maybe it never opens up as a everyone can just play like a Fallout 76. Maybe it is a private server. I would say it's required co-op, but it would be 100% better now. Or yeah. I'm not saying I think it's gonna be a blast. I just think there's gonna be a time and you're gonna be like kind of bored and you want to play with a friend. I'm not watching any videos about this game when it comes out. Not one video. I'm just going to old school it. Holy Christ, did you hear that? Did you hear that, chat? Did you read that, chat? Sarge is going to be playing Starfield. This is another game. We won't see. Sarge is going to love this game. Sarge, you're never going to be seen again. I already know what's going to happen once this game comes out. Every week on Generation X Gaming, what do you play this week? I'm still in Starfield. 6 months later, what are you playing this week? Still in Starfield. Time to play taps for Sarge. You know what's funny? I know Sarge won't ever play Fallout 76, but Fallout 76 would be Sarge's jam. He would play in that game nonstop. He wouldn't play Division 2. He wouldn't play anything else. He would be lost in Fallout 76. This is that void. Starfield is going to be that game. Is it in Game Pass? It is. Then you're playing it. Final Fantasy 16 greater than midfield. This is coming from Travis, who is never going to play an Xbox game ever. So, take what you want. Fallout MMO was a stupid idea, but it's not an MMO. It's like a MMO light, and it's actually a really, really fun game when you're playing with people. They wanted to be like this PvP world type of thing, and everyone turned it into this like it's one of the best communities that you could ever play in a video game. If someone wants to play a multiplayer space shooter already, it exists. It's called Boundary. Coming to PlayStation 5. Look at that up real fast. It's called Boundary. Is it called The Boundary or just Boundary? Oh, this is that PvP game. Yeah, this is a PvP space game.
Boundary is the new zero-gravity FPS game from Studio Surgical Scalpels and their publisher Huya. The game will be hitting the store soon on PC and PlayStation. And if you've ever wondered what the fight on an international space station would look like, your question may be answered. With unique gunplay mechanics, awesome abilities, and comprehensive gun and character customization, it's definitely a game to keep your eye on. Boundary is a pure multiplayer game with 4 main game modes. In this section, I'll briefly explain each one and show some extended gameplay. Facility capture.
Team deathmatch, orbital purge, and facility. Yeah, it's all PvP. Yeah, I'm not interested in that. All right, What time is it? We got some time. 12:30. All right, what we're going to do, we're going to change gears here, shift gears. It's about 30 minutes before the Ubisoft Forward starts. We can still continue this conversation, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the next stream. It's going to bounce you over there. I'm going to put the link in the actual description, the link in the actual chat. You guys can hit that if it doesn't redirect you right away. Appreciate it. If you guys can, make sure you hit that like button on this video because it helps us. We're a small channel. I know it sounds stupid every time we say it. I don't even do it enough, I believe. But you got to hit that like button. If you're here, you enjoy it. If you're here for the entire time, if you're here for half hour or whatever, if you already hit it, don't worry about it. But if you haven't hit the like button yet, hit the like button because it helps the channel get pushed out to other people out there because the algorithm looks and goes, oh, we have 25 people here. All 25 people liked it. These 25 people also like this video. We'll send it out to other people that are also like these type of videos. So make sure you hit that. Yeah, you can give it a thumbs up. You can give it a thumbs down. It doesn't really matter. As long as you engage and it shows people that are engaging that are actually watching the video. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to the Ubisoft Forward. We don't know what it is. We don't know how long it's going to be, but we are covering it here, and that's what we're going to do. So I appreciate you very much. Stick around. Don't go anywhere from this stream. You'll get redirected, and I'm going to put a link in the description for you in just a second. I thought we had a good morning show here talking about overall. I absolutely thought the Xbox Showcase is exactly what they had to do. Showcase Xbox games, and that's what they did. Okay, this is going to be the link. You can either hit this link or wait here, and then it'll get redirected for you guys once I back out. If you guys liked us and you want to help us out in any way, shape, or form, hit that like button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can become a member as little as $5. So I appreciate that very much. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.